Today, February 7th, market analysis for the next generation of merchants. We are, today we're going to be looking through charts and identifying specific entry points. We are at a low right now with a lot of the assets that I have on my watch list. And so as a result, I'm doing some dollar cost averaging, making sure that we are taking advantage of these opportunities to have our money grow. Silver, fascinating little chart here, how it is just continuing to maintain its strength. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, I need both of these screens up. There we go. All right. So over here, we got the CFDs on silver. Price right now, $32.40. Definitely with this almost touching the all-time high there. When was that? Oh, that was back in October. Let's look at the 2-hour chart here, because we're checking this out at least 2-3 times a week. So as we can see, we have a new high. We are definitely hanging out above this previous resistance. So if that ends up becoming support, I mean, we could be continuing to create some new highs going. Yeah, we could continue to rise up. This little dip that we had there right at the beginning of December was very, very short-lived, wasn't it? And it has just been rallying back ever since. Higher highs and higher lows. Same thing with gold. In fact, gold is accelerating its movement up. As you can see, remember, I'm on a logarithmic chart. So the distance between dollars is a lot larger over here than it is over here. So the fact that this movement is climbing at such a rate gives us an indication that we are accelerating. We're accelerating this this rise in price with a brand new high formed February 5th at 28.82 US. We are seeing even today in Canadian funds, we're at 20. Oh no, that's US. Yeah, 28.85 is what the ticker is showing. So definitely, this is amazing. What would that be in Canadian? Isn't that like 3,400 or something like that? 3,500. It's wild. Ounce of gold just continuing to rise. I'm glad that it's proving me wrong. It's a humbling experience. Next, Dow Jones also button up against this all-time high. Looks like we're ready to go for that next leap here. I would say either later today or, oh no, today's Friday. Yeah, markets are closing today. We're going to start to see liquidity drop out of the markets here for the rest of the day. And because there's only 8 hours left, not even 8 hours left to trading on the fiat markets. So this here probably won't move around. Next week, though, I think we're probably going to see Monday, Tuesday, some more of that strength return, and possibly Wednesday, Thursday, create an all-time high. All right, let's get rid of the squiggly line here. This is the global 30, all of the top 30 cryptocurrencies. I'm just going to go ahead and delete the squiggly line because I definitely did not call that one very well. A few more delays. Right now, we're seeing the price after this big dip that we experienced at the beginning of February. Yeah, that was on Sunday. After this dip, we've just been seeing a consolidation going down to almost nothing. Like we're just basically going up and down inside this range here. This is going to break out soon. We can't stay here long, only because the amount of money that's being poured into these assets now is screaming. Before, it was a lot of the off the books, you know, through the ETFs and so on. Oh, there's a message. Oh, you must have come back in already, Audrey. Awesome. So yeah, we're seeing we're seeing the ETFs are still continuing. In fact, they're adding more. Some of the other ETFs that we're seeing come on board are Doge. Believe it or not, the meme coin is going to be approved as an ETF instrument. And it's going to be as these instruments are being issued, more and more transactions are going to be completed on chain. Now I even got to get out, but it only happened the moment I brought Audrey professional trading that's going into these assets. As we see more and more of these ETFs being bought up, it's going to attract more and more of the retail investors. And I think, well, I've been saying this now for 2 or 3 months. I think we're on the verge. But here's why I think we're actually that close. When we take a look at what's going on with AI, we'll take a look at what's happening with these various, oh, what is this here? You don't see me either. Oh my goodness, what's going on? Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay, we'll wait for.
Yeah, it said that connection
Needs
thing
to come back.
again. It said that
Yeah.
connection thing again. And I'm like, well, what the heck is that? And then it wouldn't let me do anything.
Is it working?
I just had issues too. Now I'm back.
That is so strange. That's so strange. We're in.
Hang on.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch base on the weekly chart again here. I know we talked about this earlier this week, but sometimes you really have to zoom out. You know, we get caught up a lot of times on this 2-hour chart, and we see the movements and they look large. But when we take a look at the weekly chart and just the position that we're in here, we can see just how powerful of a position we're in and just how little the price actually came down. Now, today we are under $100,000, but we've already, let me just go look here again. Yeah, we've already been tempting to go back above it. You know, this line here, these downward lines, this was something that we saw forming simply because of January. But then towards the middle of January, the price broke up above, created a whole new high, and has been maintaining its position above that downward line. So we are not, this is not out, we're not out of the woods yet. This is, or I shouldn't say, we're not in a bearish trend. This is still very, very much bullish. And we saw Ethereum actually get some major attention throughout this week. You know, this was on Monday when the big dip happened. But as you can see, and we talked about this as well, it just went down and touched this old resistance. That's all it did. And it came right back. There was one of the guys that I follow. He had a suspicion that it might just do that. And so what he did was that he went ahead and traded this point. What he did when the price was still up here, he thought to himself, I'll bet you that it'll come down here, because he saw this old this old support. So he actually launched a trade to happen automatically if the price were to come down here. And he did it while the price was still up close to the top of this trend channel. So he did it here, price dropped. And because he had that order placed, he wasn't even at the computer. The order was placed. It went through automatically just above $2,000. And then it went up to 27 now today. So this is what we call a banker's candle. This is what happens when people panic. And because they panicked, people bought it back up again. So in that very, very short period of time, price went down, people panicked, but then the institutions bought it back up again. So there's another good indication that we are not in a bullet or not in a bearish run right now. And if we, again, take a look at how Ethereum is shaped across the weeks, we can see that we are certainly in a good position. This high here has formed this low. And ever since then, we just keep climbing higher. So even with that banker's candle, making it look like it's a terrible thing, when we take a look and zoom back out, remember the large time frames. So the time frames that are longer, day time frames, especially day and weekly time frames, we get a better picture of the price action and what we're actually after. Oh, I'm just going to go ahead. I don't know why I'm getting booted out every once in a while because we're denied by the bulls. So with the price coming back, we can expect something like this to go up. And as it goes up, oh, I didn't give myself enough room to draw this. So as it goes up like this, what I want to do is set my trades to trail this movement. So we are going to see some support and a new high. This is when I'm going to start activating my, they're called pending orders. And so I will go ahead, once we get up above this, I'm going to go ahead and set an order for each of the pivot points that we have going back down again. Because if the market were to ever retest any of these areas, I want to re-enter with those at those lower prices, and I'm going to program the broker to do it for me. And we're having people dip off of the call. It's kind of weird. It's been happening the last 2 or 3 days. I don't know why. 4 days probably. On Solana, we've pulled far back from the all-time high, but again on the weekly chart, barely a blip. Let's recalibrate that. There we go. So on the weekly chart, barely a blip. We are certainly in a good position. Going back to a daily chart, this pullback that we have has actually retested that 200 line. That 200 line is going to be key, I believe, going forward. We're going to see a lot of retracements coming back to here. And so as we go through this bubble, as we go through this period, especially on assets like Ethereum, Solana, Injective, not so much Cardano. Cardano I'm playing differently, but with a lot of these altcoins, I'm going to be setting that pending order for this 200 line, because if we ever come back and grab it again, I want to catch that movement coming back to the average. So for those of you who are interested in doing some more aggressive trading, that is an option, and I'll be executing those, and sharing my screen and showing you how I do that, because it's nice. I mean, you think about it. If you can snipe those opportunities, you can make an extra 20-30% with small amounts. Don't do this with your whole amount. I'm not taking out all of my money and then doing it again. I'm only taking out portions, usually 20%, maybe 30% of the earnings, not my base. So as I make money, I'll sell 20-30% of my profits so that I can re-enter that little portion, re-enter that with those programmable trades, because we're not going to be able to capture them all unless we're programming the trades in place, so that when the market goes down, the exchange automatically executes that trade on our behalf, because we place it as a pending order. Injective token, tempting some new lows here, but still maintaining that support. We can see that it dipped down, but since that time has been maintaining this area, that same area that was support in the past. So this is okay. This is actually, again, it's setting itself up very well. Go back to the weekly chart. You can see, yes, that was a big dip. We call that the banker's candle, and it's come right back to settle at this level here. It's beautiful. Fetch, similar type of formation. But now, of course, the banker's candle is a little bit less. And you can see that it is at the very bottom of this trend line. So folks, again, this is where you want to be buying. When you see these patterns, you see that price action coming down and touching the lower trend line, you know it's time to buy. Polygon, very, very low. This is underneath that old wedge. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that wedge because we don't need it anymore. It's kind of irrelevant at this point. At the moment, we actually have a very much an accelerated downward trend. I'm not too concerned about it though, because again, this here, the reason why this is low is because this is in the gaming world. Polygon is really much more going to be used in gaming than anything. And so this trend, as it sharpens, doesn't faze me in the slightest. It might even go below 30 cents. Excuse me. It might even go below 30 cents because we still have some time before the gaming bubble really takes off. But that just simply means that you're in a great position to go from here. We're 31 cents right now, coming back to the all-time high, which when this happens, it will likely happen within a matter of days. When we come back to that all-time high, that's at 800% growth. For Destra, and this is the weekly chart, and it's really not that old of a program, and so we're going to go to the daily chart. We can see prices come back down to test old levels all the way back from June. Some of these levels are back from June. The last time from when it was here, and the last time it was here was even in November, shortly before the election. So with our price having nice and high here, we can see that we've filled a great deal of, we have a lot of room to go up to that all-time high. Right now at 21 cents, going up to 54 cents. Desync is in a great position. Now I'm going to go ahead and just remind people that it is good to go, and check CoinMarketCap for some of the other data. So I'm going to go ahead and go desync here. When I go look at desync, my big thing here is looking at the market cap versus the diluted volume. So as we can see, that market cap has very much saturated the full diluted volume. That means that we have a lot of stability with the price when it goes up. Now, then people say, well, why did it come down so much? Well, it's because we are seeing a lot of liquidity moving back and forth between these assets, especially when there's this volatility, and especially when there are a lot of traders involved in this movement. And so there are days where billions of dollars are being moved from one asset into the other, simply because one might be getting a little bit higher than the other. And, simply because people are drawing lines, doing technical analysis and changing their positions. That is going to happen. And so this type of price action can occur. But what we won't see with this fully diluted volume, or rather with this saturated volume, is it won't go very low. Like it certainly won't go below where the majority of investors are, because that's the value right there. As this price comes up, we'll see that have more stability going forward, where it won't just pump and then back down and dump again. This volatility that we're seeing here is just characteristic of what's going on right now throughout cryptos. But once this thing takes off and we see those, like right now, it's at what, 200 and what million? Yeah, 212 million. Like this is going to be at $1 billion by the end of this year. And so that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. what we don't want to see, and that's where the sadness comes into trading, is when something just goes screaming up high and then crashes on the other side. 0 by 0, also in a great position. We can see here on the daily chart, we're at a very good spot. I feel like getting some more. PAL also at a low spot, testing some of those levels from before when they had that PR move that cost them a lot of money. WorldCoin also nice and low, finding some over long time lows all the way back from September 23. This is the level that we're at right now. Great position. This bankers candle that opened things up, that was just a wild day of volatility as everybody was super excited. But this basically is that shelf. And because WorldCoin, let's go see what's going on with WorldCoin and their, oopsies. Learn to type. There we go. This one, though, is not very saturated. So we can expect this one to do some pumps and dumps. This is why it's going to be crucial that we're on the spot with these. My targets are set. I'm ready at $19 and $29. Well, I think I probably have them set for $20 and $30. Yeah. So $20 and $30 are my targets. From where we are right now, it's $1.30. That is very, very healthy. Even if it just comes back up to the all-time high, I will likely go ahead and just start selling a little bit, because I think that movement would garner a retracement coming back to that $4 or $5 area. So yeah, this is a great chart. Neural. Oh, look at how this has gone. High, low, high, low. This one doesn't quite go higher, but it consolidates, finds itself the support, breaks through without a problem, forming that new high. And now we're simply coming back, testing that support, that same level where we had the consolidation last, found that support, and we're definitely ready for the next movement. Beam, tanking compared to other assets right now, super low, but still hanging on to that low price. Now, Beam is a larger market cap, if I remember correctly. I think it's even around, okay, yeah, it's 500 million. It is nice and saturated, a little bit of room to grow there, but it's in a good position, especially at such low prices. I mean, right now it's 1 cent, and that all-time high was 4 cents. So you're looking at a 300. It's just right now, yeah, 1 cent right now, and 4 cents even looks like is that all-time high. So just over 1 cent going up to 4 cents. That gives us a nice 350% increase, just coming back to the all-time high. FAR also bouncing off of all-time lows. So I'm definitely packing up some of these ones. Going to be definitely going to be adding to the bag here. I've got lots that I put in, and I'm down, I don't know. Yeah, probably 30, 40%. I wouldn't even be surprised if I'm down 50% on some of the positions that I've taken with this one. But again, I'm not concerned. The gaming bubble, of which this one is going to be later on in the year. Superverse, the gaming coin, which experienced its all-time high, or almost an all-time high. Is that right? No, we had way more bigger all-time highs, but this new high in the middle of December, coming back down quite a ways. In fact, from the all-time high right now, it's down, or not the all-time high, from the previous high, it's down 68%. So wonderful position to actually grab, because coming back to just that high right there is 200%. So this is another little package of coins that I'm going to be adding. I'll probably get about $100 worth or so to bring me back up to this point. Clearpool hanging on its own, barely noticed the fluctuation in the market. Non-playable coin, NPC, continuing to bounce around at these lows here. That's a major support line, and to be, oh yeah, very major support line. And just coming back to that all-time high is going to be a 386%. Oh, I'm definitely grabbing some more. Same thing with SPX. SPX is also where we now 200, what? Nope, 167% down, or 167% to go back to the all-time high. What does that translate to coming back down? Well, it's down 62%. So another good position right now. Like, we take a look at what's going on within this community. Oh my goodness, they are crazy. What the ambition that they have to take over the stock market is very admirable. And I do believe that, especially with within the next 2 months or so, I think memes are going to see another big breakout, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Very exciting. So there we go. Those are the charts for today. I'm going to go ahead and bring down my charts. Audrey asks, are we able to program the highs as well? Yes, you can program both buys and sells. Again, I think Endax does that natively. I know that Coinbase can do it as well. But some of the exchanges don't do auto buys and sells. So you want to make sure that the exchange you're using has a good user interface that allows you to make those buys and sells and program them as well. I will be using KuCoin for this, but you can do it with Kraken, you can do it with Binance, you can do it with, like I said, Endax, and I look forward to looking at some of the other exchanges to see what other ones are able to help people accomplish that. The reason I'm going to KuCoin is because they do offer leveraged trading, which means that they will be willing, if I put in a certain amount, they will meet that amount and allow me to trade with an extra portion of money. And so what this is, it's a short-term loan for the duration of the trade. And what they do is, whether I win or lose, I gain or lose the amount that is leveraged. So if it's a 5-to-1 leverage, it simply means that if I put in $100, KuCoin will actually let me trade with 500. And so this is where we see some very powerful growth, because with small amounts of money, you can start trading like you have more and appreciate a lot of those gains. All you have to do is, when the trade is over, pay the interest, which is usually in the form of transaction fees with KuCoin. And so here's where we start to see some fabulous growth occurring. But that requires another level of risk management you have to be aware of. Because if you're putting in $100 and the price works against you, you have to pay for $500 worth of losses. So therefore, you have to really pay attention to that risk management. The rewards are very good, though, especially going into into bull markets like this, because we can program those buys as we trail the pivot points. As the price goes up, we simply just move our trades to the next lower pivot point to catch that movement. And I'll be placing 2 of these trades. I'm going to go to Bitcoin so you can see, because Bitcoin just that's just got a really good chart that moves around nicely with pivot points. Going to the daily chart, I'll show you an example very briefly. This is how I would do it. When the price goes up, I'm going to be placing a pending order. Where is my arrow? There it is. I'm going to be placing a pending order, not now, after we form a new all-time high. I will be placing an order probably around, what's the best way for me to mark this? Probably this guy here. This one. I will likely make my pending order in this area here. I might even extend it like down to just below, like 96, 95,000. Because when the price goes up, it's going to have some it just doesn't have much support. It needs to come back and find the support, especially as it goes up, up to that 110,000, 120,000 especially. But when that movement comes up, I will place that pending order for this area here so that when the price comes down, I'm automatically buying, and I will program that trade to take profit when it goes back to where it came from. So I can catch those movements with small amounts, and because it's leveraged trading, I don't need to use a large portion of where most of my money is. So I can take small portions. And again, the most that I'll pull out of my winnings is 20% to use with this strategy here. And the reason why is because it's 5-to-1. So if I lose that trade, I'm losing that $100. If I win that trade, I will pay for 5 losses. And I know through that, and again, that's how we do the risk management. If I'm winning 1 out of 5, I'm still breaking even, because 1 win can pay for 5 losses. That allows me to play around a little bit. And with my success rate going into this bull run, if I can get my success rate to 50%, and I'm winning and losing half the time. But because my wins pay for 5 losses, when I lose, I've still got 4 wins in my bag. So with the right asset management, we can use a portion of our winnings to even win more. And this is the leverage trading. You got to be patient with this one. You got to be more calculated. You're going to need to spend more time in front of the computer analyzing what's going on. And that just looks like in the morning, this is what I'll be doing. In the morning, I'm going to look at the price action, and I'm going to be adjusting my pending orders to wherever the most previous pivot points are. And I'll probably do 2. So this pivot point here is one of them. I probably won't go lower. And the reason why is because we're just so close to this 2024 election, and we'll never see this price again. So my intention here is that this will become a second pivot point. When we go up and we retrace after we go up to like 110, 115, I think we're going to see a retracement coming back to test this. My trade will be here. Then when we go up to 130, 150, I'll set another pending order for that 120, 115 area, because that's where it peaked out, and that will likely become a pivot point later from above. But I'll also keep another trade here ready to go. This one is going to be even bigger of a volume than it was the first time, because the likelihood of coming down here is so much less. The likelihood of it bouncing off of it and making good money is even higher. So with this area here, I will position more money than I would in the pending trade above, because if that trending trade above takes and then comes down and I get to buy again, I will have lowered that dollar cost average, even the average amount that I'm spending per coin will drop. And that's where we notice the biggest gains. That's the strategy that the ultra wealthy use in every season, no matter where they are. And further to your question, Audrey, you can program the highs as well. And what the dollar cost averaging strategy works the other way. We talk about dollar cost averaging a lot right now, and it's because we're noticing these dips and we want to catch those bullish movements as much as possible. But you can dollar cost average your sales as well, simply by selling at the higher price points. So in the same way that I'm talking about increasing the size of my trade as it goes down, using the pending orders, I can also program the sales to progressively get larger as the price goes up. And that raises the dollar cost that raises the average price per coin as I sell. Again, I'm not doing that with my entire portfolio. I'm using portions and proper risk management to make sure that even if I fail, at least I'll break even. There we go. Market analysis and a little bit of trade strategy. I look forward to playing this out live with you guys as time goes on, especially when the volatility is arriving and we're starting to see these, these 3Xs and 4Xs. Watch out, because I'll be doing every single day. And after market analysis at 8 o'clock, I'll be going into another session of trading where just privately, I won't be live streaming it. It'll just be available for our private members. But there they can watch me execute those trades on my account and exactly how I do it, why I'm doing it, so they can follow along. So there we have it. If that's of interest to you, if you'd like to join our community, I'm going to go ahead and just grab this website, manknownaspaul.com/connect. There you can connect on our Telegram, so you can get the market updates that I give there. Also, we've got other events that are very, very powerful for people who wish to exercise more sovereignty over their property. And of course, you can also book a time with me as well. So there we'll sit down together. We'll talk about the opportunities that are laid before you based off of what you tell me your life experiences are and where your interests are. I will help you find opportunities that are on the horizon that you can start preparing for, so that as this great reset comes to fruition, you can thrive and you can keep all of your wealth too. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, and have a good day.